Welcome back, my friends. Another episode of MES podcast. I'm here with the other two kings. It's a three kings pod. We got Baby Booga, Papa Pablo, and your Uncle John here. We're going to be getting into the 3-0 win over Alaves, the 5-0 win over Young Boys. We got the comment of the week. And since you all loved our ranking of the best strikers of the decade so much, we got another one for you. We're doing the top 5 midfielders of the century. Look out. Little tip of the cap for Andres Iniesta. His retirement has sparked this debate, so we're going to be doing the top 5, all that. Stick around. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you. All that good stuff. We got a great episode coming up for you. Pablo, how we doing, sir? I'm going to you first.
Yeah, not doing too badly. It has been quite a good week for Barca, to be fair. Obviously, 2 wins since the defeat to Osasuna, 8 goals scored, no goals conceded. Very good way to end off before going into the second international break of the season. So, no, I think everyone's quite happy right now with the work Flick's doing with the team. And, obviously we've got a lot of players missing, but the team continues to produce, continues to perform. So I think everyone's pretty happy after what was a pretty another routine win actually against Alaves. So I'm happy. I think people are happy.
Baby Booga, how you feeling? We are now, a couple hours off of that win. What's in your mind?
Dude, it feels good to be a Barcelona fan again.
Right? It really does.
I've been my mom invited my what's it called? Nephew, I think. I don't know. What's the word?
Sure.
To a nephew to my house.
Nephew would be
it depends,
your mother or your father's siblings had a child of male.
No,
genitalia.
like my cousin has a guy, an 8-year-old kid.
If your cousin had a child, I believe that makes it your second cousin.
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
I don't know. Okay, whatever. Just a kid. Okay, my mom invited a kid over, and the guy's from Real Madrid. So, and I was like, bro, I was screaming Lewandowski's goals on his face. Like,
you let him in your house, dude?
Yeah, that's actually weird.
I hope you at least made him sit in the corner. You didn't give him a chair to sit in, right?
What, for Real Madrid, being at Real Madrid?
Yeah, dude.
No,
that's what I would do. If a Madrista came over to my house to watch Barcelona, I'd be like, you can stay, but you have to sit in the corner. And you can't speak until after the match.
So you know what?
And you know what's the best? He celebrated Deportivo Alaves goal that was ruled offside.
Oh my god! This kid is like savage. So Bulga, you spent your Sunday afternoon bullying an 8-year-old.
Exactly. He deserved it, bro. He needs to. And he says Ronaldo is better than Messi.
Oh god, yeah. Okay.
Nah, bro,
I can already tell what
he doesn't know.
I can tell what this guy's like.
He's one of those Twitter dummies.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, bro, you're part of my family, but come on, you have zero ball knowledge. You're part of my family, but zero ball knowledge.
It's tough, considering he actually only watched Ronaldo and he was useless as well. That's quite impressive that he thinks he's better than Messi.
Yeah, I know. He watched Messi lift the World Cup, and he still thinks
the
Ronaldo's
number
better.
of people
and he said
the number of people that form their opinion off of stats and highlight reels and did not watch those two play is astonishing. Basically, if you're not at least how old? 15, 16, 17, something like that. And I'm being generous. I don't want to hear your opinion about Messi and Ronaldo. I really don't. If you were watching the matches from 2007 to 2015, I don't want to hear your opinion. I really don't.
No, I mean, for me, it's a fact. For me, there's no debate. Messi is clearly better than Ronaldo. Ronaldo is closer to Neymar than Ronaldo is to Messi.
How are we in a Messi versus Ronaldo debate? How are we in a Messi versus Ronaldo debate?
Booga's trying to make up from last week and all the comments
He's a
about
fucking
reason.
8-year-old kid. We need to stop paying. Okay, that's exactly what he wanted. We need to stop giving him attention. Let's just move on. Forget about him.
We're moving on. We're moving on.
Moving
okay.
on.
Let's talk Young Boys. Did anything stand
We
out
literally just talked about Young Boys.
Sorry, I mean the team, the match Young Boys. Guys, get your mind out of the gutter. This is gonna be awkward. Let's talk about Barcelona's match versus Young Boys. Booga's on the floor already. I got some takeaways. What do you guys have? What stood out to you guys in that 5-0 win?
Young Boys are not very good playing football. They're not.
Yeah. That's to be expected.
No,
go ahead.
Yeah, I think that Barcelona during that game for me was very important I think Flick knew that we needed to win this game, particularly because it's like our second game in the Champions League, and it's supposed to be our second easiest opponent. I mean, we faced the two teams who were in the last spot in pot number 4 first. So 2.5, I think 6 points out of that, it's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, you beat Young Boys, you demolished them, you took them out of the field completely. Barcelona were very precise, were on point, they knew exactly what it meant. And I'm just happy that for a game of this, not magnitude, because it's Young Boys, but of importance, they showed up. So that's for me the best thing. I want to see now this sort of attitude the same time, but with another opposition.
Yeah. One thing that I loved was Inigo Martinez getting a goal and the passion that he exuded. I believe it was his first Champions League goal, and
maybe
we were already up 2-3-0 at that point. I think Inigo was the third goal. So I think that was his first Champions League goal, and you could see how much it meant to him. And he's bringing that energy, he's bringing that attitude every match for Barcelona. He knows that this is the twilight of his career. He knows that this is his biggest opportunity, and he's playing with so much passion, so much commitment. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, he's been one of Barca's best players so far this season, Inigo Martinez. I'm actually glad you brought him up, John, because maybe we haven't given him like a little segment on the podcast up until now. How good has Inigo Martinez been for Barca, by the way? Because that's pretty one of the positions we thought this season we'd struggle with, and him and Pau Cubarsí have been flawless. Cubarsí, we almost like forget that he's 17 still, and just expect him to perform like an 8 out of 10 every week, which he does, which is ridiculous. But Inigo Martinez, I mean, has come in. I'm personally a fan of the player. I always was, but I admit that I didn't expect him to be this good. He's playing like one of the best centre-backs in the league. I'm quite surprised he hasn't been called up for Spain. Yeah. I'm glad he hasn't because he's 33. But I'm surprised that Luis de la Fuente hasn't taken him for Spain with the injuries they've got. I know they've got Laporta and Pau Torres, I suppose, for left centre-backs, but still.
Is that... I think that for Spain is difficult right now to count on Inigo Martinez to like build something for the future,
Yeah.
So it's like he's maybe taking building blocks for something else. Inigo Martinez is hard to build on, but that's what I think. Normally, I'm a sort of guy that if I can get rid of a 33-year-old player, I think that's the most suitable thing to do. And always like bet on the youngsters, but he has completely shut my mouth because I was telling sell Inigo Martinez.
You were one of those. You were one of those, weren't you?
Yeah, I was one of those. I'm looking always for a market opportunity. I'm that sort of guy, I'm the shark mentality type of guy. So it's
can I go ahead, Buga?
So I'm looking at Inigo Martinez, and let's say now he has turned my head around. He got a goal, he got an assist, he put an incredible performance right now in this game against Deportivo Alaves. He's doing incredible business. Like, I'm really, really beyond surprised with Inigo Martinez and beyond excited for what he can do this season.
Can I hit y'all with a hot take?
Go ahead.
I said, can I hit y'all with a hot take? I think...
Bro, we're a hype, man. Just go.
Here comes. I think when Araujo comes back and he's fully fit, I think he actually replaces Cubarsí and not Inigo.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Cubarsí is the guy who gets replaced. Like, I think Inigo Martinez maintains his first team spot.
And we're forgetting about Christensen too.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you see what I mean? Like, there is
Christensen for me. Go ahead, Bob.
No, sorry. I just like Flick's got a decision to make, and I think he doesn't. I think when you come in as a new manager and this guy has been your leader, your 33-year-old centre back, I think for Hansi Flick, like for us, it's different because we know Araujo and Christensen's level. Of course, Flick knows them as players, but when all Flick knows at Barca is from Valencia onwards, do you get what I mean? And from that point, Inigo Martinez has been his best centre back. He doesn't have those preconceptions of who's the better player already. I think in his head, Inigo Martinez is his guy. And I think it's going to be difficult for him to go, after you've been amazing, off you go. I just can't see it happening. I think he could stay in defence. I really do. Sorry, John.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I think when we have those four center backs healthy, I think the starting pair is going to be Martinez, Araujo, and then Christensen and Cubarsí will be the second pairing. I think that's how it's going to end up. And that will change, of course, in the near future, because like we said, Martinez 33 years old, all those things, which 33 is not that old, you guys. I just want to say that, okay? 33 is not that old, right?
I
Anyway.
think that we also need to take a look at, like, for me, Gerard Martin, if he continues to play in the left back position, I'm not sure if I would. Let's say Balde gets injured, and we
Don't
need
say
to
that.
play. Let's say Balde gets injured, and we need to play against Real Sociedad away at Anoeta in the 10th of November with someone playing the left back position. Like, would you put Inigo Martinez there and just have somebody else in the center back position? Because I don't want Gerard Martin to play. Like maybe shift something around. Maybe Hansi Flick try something, because I'm not sure if I'm right now. We don't have anyone that can fit that position. It will be Hector Ford, in my opinion. For me today, Hector Ford's match against Alaves also proved that he could be a very reliable piece for the puzzle. But for me, Gerard Martin just with the I don't know what Flick sees in him. Like, I really don't.
He loves him. I think Hector Ford can do a great job. I think he proved it in big games already last season at left back. I actually do. And again, he came in today. I didn't even realise he came in today. He was like, it's just the same, And that's coming for Koundé as well, who we know is class. Probably our best defender. So, I really rate Hector Ford. I think he's underrated, actually, as a defender. So I would put him left back. But I think Hansi Flick backs Gerard Martin.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So for me, I did make a note, and I think this is why you're seeing Balde have his time cut a little bit. I don't think Hansi Flick likes Balde's decision-making on the ball. I think Balde loses it far too often. He makes one too many dribbles and concedes possession. And I think that's got to be frustrating for Hansi. That's why, for me, I don't know that Hansi has that much confidence in Balde.
I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if he has the confidence, because there's no one that can replace him in a sense. Like, if we had somebody else in that position, he would probably be, like you say, replaced or whatnot. But right now, he's the literally only first team left back that we know has done it, has won a La Liga title, has been important in a sense, has gone to a World Cup. So it's like, yeah, he kind of is our established player there. So I don't think it's surprising, because Alphonso Davies is very similar to Balde, and he loved Alphonso Davies. So we just have to see and work out how it would change, because we also don't have our starting, like attack. For instance, maybe Raphinha will push a lot further forward once Daniel comes back as a number 10. You never know. So it's like, for me, so far, no problem. Balde is a starter. I don't have no issues with it there. But like you say, it's true. I think Flick values Gerard Martin quite a lot and doesn't really value the creation that Balde brings to the team. But
yeah, you mentioned Raphinha. He's really been shifted around a lot throughout these last few matches. He'll start on the left wing, but we've seen him play underneath Lewandowski. We've seen him play on the right wing. We've seen him play a bit more of an interior position. For you guys right now, what is Raphinha's best position? Like, if you started your lineup placing Raphinha in his best spot, where does he go?
For me right now, it's left wing.
I think it's the left wing. Yeah.
I think we saw that
even though he doesn't really play there.
But it is working well, because we saw, obviously, against Alaves, he was going to be starting number 10 again. Ferran Torres left wing. Within 4 minutes, that changes. And Eric Garcia comes on, and then Raphinha goes back to the left. And, I mean, the impact he made was great. I remember I always worried when Lamine Yamal came through, because I thought that could be the end of Raphinha. But how well has he taken up that left wing spot? I mean, he's just adapted to it perfectly. Yeah. And now he's one of the first names on the team sheet. I mean, I think he's got 12 goals and assists in 11 games so far this season for Barca. It's an absolutely ridiculous return. He's one of the best players in Europe right now. I think he's Brazil's best player right now. And I think he's just one of those. And he wasn't taken to the last international break, by the way. Can you believe it? Of a struggling Brazil side. But anyway.
He took 19 less games to have 20 assists for Barca. Dembele took 19 games more.
I was I was just looking at that, because that's what I saw on Twitter. The number of matches that it took him to get all those assists compared to Dembele, and people still want to be like, "Well, Dembele was carrying Barcelona after Messi." Get real, dude. Get real. Absolute nonsense. Pablo making a big claim there, saying Raphinha is Brazil's best player, though. I think that might get some comments rolling in.
No, I agree. I feel the same way. I think Raphinha is just delivering. I think that Raphinha is delivering to a level that Vinicius, Rodrigo right now aren't. Vinicius, of course, has that consistent because he's done it like 3 seasons in a row now. But I think that Raphinha at this level, like for me, this is what I always wondered when we signed players before. I don't know about you guys, but Barcelona were always used to signing players and then they become world class and elite at Barcelona. That's the sort of thing I used to remember, back in the days. And I feel that Raphinha finally is getting to that level, like he's already his third season in and he's like, bam, he's becoming that established right winger where you can go around and hopefully he gets a recognition by the end of the campaign where you name the best right wingers in the world and he's next to Salah, he's there, he's Rodrigo, he's up there in that top 5 debate. He needs to be there because he deserves to be there.
Giving Raphinha some love. Another player that you love, Buga, you just mentioned, Ferran Torres, goes down injured. Early reports saying he's going to be out 3-4 weeks maybe. That's what I saw at first anyway. It looked like maybe a hamstring injury. What do we think of for Ferran? Is he going to have a spot to come back to? Because by the time he comes back, am I right? We'll probably have Dani Olmo back. Frankie De Jong will be at fully fit. He'll be back in, I assume, the starting 11. Spots are running out. What's going to be Ferran Torres' role when he comes back?
I will summarize my point of view on Ferran on like just one phrase. I didn't notice Ferran got substituted like until the minute 20. I didn't notice. I absolutely didn't notice.
Yikes.
Like I genuinely didn't notice. I didn't notice that he got substituted, and that's what I think is the worst indictment of how impactful he is to the team. I think at the end of the day, like I just don't know what has happened to him because he is a player that realistically, I mean, I just feel that this formation doesn't really suit him in a way. I think he doesn't. I think the best position he's the right winger on a front three, like using for Spain, because he can just be that inside forward and attack. But Barcelona doesn't play that way. So right now I feel he's just like a body. And Hansi Flick recognized that because he said, Ferran Torres, he's out and we have few players on the attacking positions. So he also see him as a body. And that's, I think, the worst thing you can have, honestly. Just be,
Yeah. I'm very curious to see how the rest of his season goes. There's so many players that are hitting their peak, that are playing their best under Hansi Flick. But Ferran Torres is one of the very few that isn't. And at some point, you say, okay, couldn't find his form under Xavi, couldn't find his form under Hansi Flick. Like, what is going to unlock, this potential that everybody sees in Ferran Torres? I'm at the point where I'll say I think this is his last year to prove himself. If he doesn't make something happen this season, I think it's going to be goodbye Ferran Torres.
Yeah, me too. I think this could be the last year of Ferran. It's unfortunate. I also do think that he should not be playing the left wing. Like he needs to play on the right or as a center forward or behind the striker. Like that's where he needs to be. And for me, you know what's the best role for Ferran actually? Is being the 12th man. Like just coming in as coming out of the bench. Like that's not a prop, dude. That's not wrong. That's not wrong. That's not bad. Chicharito made a name for himself for being just a substitute. Like it's not bad to be It's not too bad to be a super sub because he is a good super sub. Because at the end of the day, he does impact games when he comes in off the bench. Like that is something you cannot deny. Like that is a guarantee. I think you can say that's something that he does good. So for me, that would be it. For me, that would be his role. And I think I hope and anticipate that is his role. And it shouldn't be more, it shouldn't be less. It should be that.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Let him come off the bench for Lamine on that right wing. Let him play in the Copa del Rey. But yeah, I'm worried for him, is what I'll say. Like I'm not a Ferran Torres hater by any means. I think he's actually done better than what people think he has up until this season. Like if you look at the stats compared to some of the other forwards in the Xavi era, he wasn't that bad. He was hanging in there. So yeah, I'm with you on maybe a super sub performance, but we'll see. Speaking of Lamine getting subbed, did you guys pick up his reaction on the bench today when he was brought off?
No, what happened?
Yeah.
He was a little bit of a pouty pants there.
Diva.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious what your all's take on it was. Pablo, you got thoughts?
I think Lamine is one of those players who loves to play, and maybe when he hasn't got a goal or hasn't got an assist or something hasn't come off, and he gets taken off in the 60th minute when he knows he's got half an hour more to make it right. When you're so young, you always just want to like do more and more and more, and like you think that like, no, I could have done more, like I can do more, like I've got like more to give, like get me out there. And obviously you think more like short term. You think this is like, you only think about this game, you're not thinking that a long term picture when he's going to have so many more minutes this season and he'll be absolutely fine. He just gets frustrated on the actual game, so I knew he'd be like that. And I think Flick said before the game in his press conference actually that Lamine and Lewandowski get frustrated when they come off, but they have to understand that they also need to come off. And that's true too. Spain have got 2 big games at the international break against Denmark and Serbia. So I think Lamine will start both of those. If it gets tight in those games, there's a good chance he plays all 90 minutes in both of those games for Luis de la Fuente. So Hansi Flick is just being wary. It was 100% the right decision to bring him off when we're 3-0 up. I actually think in the first half an hour he made a really good impact for Barca actually. So I've got no problems with Lamine, but you can just tell he's one of those guys that he's just going to get frustrated and beat himself up if he hasn't done like amazingly because he knows how good he is.
Yeah, I just saw it, and it looks like it's more about him, not mad at the manager. You know, it's like he has that like, I want to improve, I want to be better, I want to show this. And you know what's the best thing? Real Madrid and Bayern are not going to pay for it.
Keeping them hungry.
Yeah,
that's what you're thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with players showing a bit of frustration at themselves, at the situation, when they don't get the results in terms of goals or assists. They don't perform as well as they want to, or they're still hungry for more and they're taken off. I don't mind that. It's not like he walked by Hansi and disrespected him or something like that. Like that's a completely different situation if that were the case. So I think being a little bit upset, no problems. No problems at all.
No
and
problem.
What you guys said, absolutely. He's got a lot of minutes. Yeah, he's got a lot of minutes coming up. So I'm okay with that. With that. What do you guys think of the second half against Alaves, though? Because we had 3.
I loved it.
He got a hat trick in the first half. What do you think about the second half?
I love the second half.
What did you
being
love
serious?
about the second half?
I'm being serious. I love the second half because it shows total control and domination for Barcelona. It's like, that's the Barca I know and love. One half you destroy them, the next one you just ping pong, and just, dude, every player can just rest, no injuries, relax, control. Alaves were never gonna score. I mean, they had some few occasions to score, but like overall, I like that. You're already 3-0 up. That's what you want. That's what you want to see from your team. That's a sort of, if I was a manager, that's what I would build. I would always put my best team first, have 3-0 margin, and then just start rotating players because I can. It's like, I can't screw you. I can't do this. So for me, that's the best thing I really like from Barcelona in that sense. That's the sort of team that I always want to see. Start good, fresh, strong, and then rotate when you have already the scoreline in the bag.
Yeah, I don't mind the rotations at all. As a someone who enjoys exciting football, though, I would have liked to see 4 or 5 goals come in. I realize that can't be every match, and maybe that was the idea, right? Let's secure these goals, secure the 3 points, and then show possession, show that we can control the match without putting it in the back of the net. It's an interesting point you bring up, but and also I think Alaves did make some adjustments there to stop letting Barca get in behind, because Raphinha was just running free the entire first half.
Yeah, you could tell that Alaves, like the manager said, okay, you need to put a little more strength into marking or be a little more tight, be a little more focused, play high up the field, because we're gonna get battered. Like if you don't, and they did. So that's also, people always forget. Like I always see like, oh, your team lost, or oh, they won, but you always forget that the opposition also play. Like they also have an impact. You can also react positively to changes and stuff like that. So that's what Alaves did as well. I think they made it harder for us. And if you like, Barcelona were never really in danger, but Alaves played better as well. So it's fine.
I've got like a few more interesting points. Maybe sorry if I jumped the gun. I agree. It was a weird second half, but it was a sort of a pre-international break game for Hansi Flick because he could make changes when he wanted. He could pull off who he wanted. He could put on who he wanted.
Yep.
There wasn't a game to be played in the second half. Was it a difficult watch? Yeah, like if I was a neutral watching that, I'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, this is like, I'm pulling my hair out here. It was one of those. There was nothing going on in the second half. Ansu could have got some goals, though. Ansel could have got some goals in a second half with
that would have been
in a second half with
huge.
no chances. Ansel had some good ones actually. So we have that to talk about. We also have the goalkeeper situation.
How about this?
We have the goalkeeper situation to talk about, lads.
Let's talk about the goalkeeper situation next. Here's my question: who is more likely, or who's going to break out first, Ansu or Ferran? I'm holding my breath. I'm waiting for both of those two. If we can get both those guys cooking, are you kidding me? I have faith that at least one will find their way. Which one do you think is more likely to hit their stride, to catch fire here this season? You're going against the Shark? Baby Booga?
Embarrassing.
Who is this? Who are we talking to right now?
Ansu is more, he's more naturally gifted, and he has that instinct that, for me, I've said it, I think the best finisher in our team is Lewandowski, and the next is Ansu Fati. Like, he's the second best finisher in the squad. He has that, the ball striking that he has is very good, very fast, on point. He's so good, and like Pablo says, he almost got 3 goals in this game with I don't know how many minutes he played. He played 23 minutes. So it's insane. That would have been an insane return. And for me, the best thing that he has is that he has an ability to cook up a shot so quickly that he doesn't need that much space to do it. He doesn't need that much space to pull out a shot. And that Ansu Fati will bring goals. If you find the best of him, he will.
Pablo, what do you think?
History would probably say Ferran Torres would be more reliable, but I think Ferran Torres hitting stride won't be anything too incredible. It'll be him getting a goal in La Liga and getting one in the Copa del Rey the next game as well. I don't think we're going to see him burst into incredible form, So I'm going to go Ansu Fati because I think so far this season he showed more promise. I was away with that little the Ferran Torres chat, but it is a bit worrying, his performance right now. It really is. And yeah, I mean, now he's got the injury, obviously, which is a shame for us because it means we don't really have another man to rotate around the attack with, and we just can't afford more injuries right now, bottom line. But we've got Olmo coming back. But for Ferran, it's not looking good right now. It hasn't been a good start to the season.
I have a hot take.
Oh, of course you do.
Not a super hot take, but
Luga's on a streak with the hot takes. Let's hear this one.
Devil.
Look, do not. I like I said, Ferran Torres for me is the best super sub we can have. I always go back. For me, there's one season where there are 2 seasons actually that your club, Pablo's other club, because Pablo is married to 2 women, Chelsea. There are 2 seasons where Chelsea, I think, did that very well. You had Diego Costa, you had Loki Remy, and then you had Diego Costa, and then you had Batshuayi.
Yes.
For me, Batshuayi, remember when you won with Conte,
of course,
and Batshuayi scored the goal, I think, in Swansea.
West Brom?
I don't know. West Brom scored the goal against West Brom. Batshuayi scored the goal. You won the title of the league. Loic Remy also scored very important goals for Chelsea, the winning season in 2015. So it's for me, Ferran Torres can be that guy, and I love that. And for me, I wouldn't be, honestly, call me crazy, but he's the sort of guy that we're going to be losing a semi-final, losing something, he's just going to score a goal in extra time. And for me, that's the sort of role that you can give to a player like him. Or you need that sort of guy to be the Loic Remy, to be the Batshuayi. So don't be surprised if he scores a goal out of the bench, because that for me is Ferran Torres. That's a guy that I want him to be. I don't want him to be a regular starter. I don't want him to be that. I just want to be. I want Ferran Torres to be the 12th man. That's what I want Ferran Torres to be.
That was your hot take. That
it does give him.
My hot take was: do not be surprised if Ferran Torres wins a Champions League in a final in the last minute goal. That was my hot take.
I love you, man.
I could totally see it.
Into your crystal ball and saying Ferran Torres off the bench to win the Champions League for Barca this season.
Yep. That's what I think. I've seen my.
Are we contenders? Are we contenders this year for Champions League? You think? It's way early, but are we there?
with a shark attack.
We will get to the Europe situation later on in the season, and maybe the Bayern game will steer this conversation because it may be one of the biggest problems at the club right now. I don't know if we all agree, like, we're all really happy and then a European game comes around and we just collapse, or we go back to the Barca of the last 6 years in a row that we become the same team again. That's Hansi Flick's big challenge.
Yeah. That is interesting. Okay. Put a pin in that question because I think you're right about that. Let's get to the Bayern match, have that conversation. I think that'll be important because that really is, I mean, I hate to say it, but Bayern have kind of been our daddies over these last few years. So we gotta outgrow that. We gotta shake off those results, and we gotta show that we're the big boys now. That we're the ones taking.
Just
control.
want to say that we can beat Bayern. By the way, I think people are scared of Bayern, but you have to look at it coach to coach as well. I always love it when there's a coach matchup like this.
Vincent Kompany.
Yeah, Vincent Kompany versus Hansi Flick. There's a massive gulf there in experience. Now, watch out because Flick can outcoach Kompany. Kompany surprised me so far at Bayern, but they lost away to Aston Villa. I knew they wouldn't win there. And that, I think, it'll be a different Bayern is what I'm trying to say. But look, Barca have their own demons to fight off in Europe. Equally, we could get hammered 3-0 and then we just go, we've just done it again, lads. We've just done it again. Like, we can't get over this hunch. But I'm saying, in current form, Barca can beat Bayern.
I'm excited. I'm very excited for the matches coming up after this international break. I know we talked about it. Sevilla, Bayern, Real Madrid. I'm so excited for that week. I think I'm not going to be able to sleep. I'm probably going to have to call off work. I can't do anything. I'm not going to be productive. I'm just thinking about these matches.
Mad.
Let's do this. I'm super excited.
Any other talking points from the recent matches for Barca?
The goalkeeper.
Yes, thank you, Pablo. That's right. We put a pin in that. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? What are you feeling right now?
I have to be careful.
Is Inaki Peña looking over his shoulder, feeling worried?
I have to be careful what I say, but I mean, I think we know who I think we know who the number one is going to be for Barcelona this season. That's what I'm going to say. I think we know who the number one is going to be for Barcelona this season. I think we really do. We really do. Iñaki Peña is playing with no confidence again. He had his chance last season in 3 or 4 months with Ter Stegen out. I don't think he convinced in those months. And I think he knows that Szczesny's going to start. That performance today, for me, was of a goalkeeper who knows he's not got the confidence of the coaching staff and of the manager and of his teammates. If your goalkeeper gets injured, you just play your second goalkeeper. You don't sign one. That's what any other club would do. Mm-hmm. For me, that's a bit of a message of the club going, we don't trust our second goalkeeper, that we'd rather get someone who's retired in goal. If you have a good second goalkeeper, you just play him. Like, I think that's the same for, like, you go through any other club in Europe, and if this happens, I think they just play their second goalkeeper. They don't sign someone. My point, I don't know. I don't know when he'll come in. If it's Sevilla, I think if Flick wants him ready for Bayern and Real Madrid, Szczesny, I think he starts him against Sevilla. I am so intrigued to see who starts against Sevilla in goal. That will be the position I've got my eyes on, because whoever starts in goal against Sevilla is starting in the next two, because he won't play Iñaki Peña against Sevilla and then have Szczesny's first game against Bayern.
Yeah, no, that would be a disaster. So I think
I'm very intrigued.
Yeah,
I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say that I think Szczesny needs to come for Sevilla because Flick doesn't trust me as a manager. He doesn't give me the vibe that he's a manager that, I'm just going to make these substitutions. Like, I don't know where, he needs preparation. He needs to already put stuff working. Like the lineups that we saw in the preseason with the double pivots was what Barcelona started with, Bernat and Casado. That's something he tried like plenty of times before actually giving it a go. So I think that Szczesny would need to play against Sevilla for that to be a chance. But I agree. I think that Iñaki Peña in this game, like the goal that Alaves scored that was disallowed, he could have done better there. Like he could have done better. I know the bounce was a little bit off, but he could have done better. And yeah, I don't know. Like Pablo is saying, like it's hard seeing you be substituted like in that sense. And I mean, other clubs have done it, like Real Madrid with Kepa, but the gap between Lunin and Courtois is not as big as the gap from Ter Stegen and Iñaki Peña. Like, that's way different. Like that's completely different. So people shouldn't be really that surprised.
And also,
that Iñaki Peña, this might be his last.
And Buga, they ended up playing Lunin.
Exactly. Yeah.
and rightly so.
It's what stands out to me is that Inaki Peña's best match that I've seen him play was against Barcelona when he was loaned out to Galatasaray. Like, he came in determined. He came in focused. I remember being like, wow, this is awesome. We've got a solid backup keeper and a replacement for when Ter Stegen hangs up his boots. And then he came back to Barcelona and just regressed. You know, everything that you guys said, the confidence isn't there. The decision making, it's not steady. It doesn't feel steady with him between the posts.
No.
Chesney's coming. The Chesney train. Has anybody come up with a nickname for him? I keep seeing people on Twitter saying, I'm not going to keep typing in Chesney.
Apparently from what I hear from the people in the club is that the nickname they called him at the training is Tech. So he's referred to by his teammates on training and by anyone around him as Tech.
Interesting. Is that derivative of something? Like, where does that come from? Is that like
I don't know, but he said it on like a video as well. When someone interviewed him, and he said it on the video.
Tech, like TECH or TEK?
Good, great question. We'll have to find. We'll find out.
Maybe like from World Check,
yeah,
and then chess, like check,
tech, World Check, Tech. Okay, I'll take it.
Further
between the posts.
Big friend of the ball.
I mean, people say Chesney like super difficult to type, bro. Like, come on, grow up.
It's not. It's SZCZ Esney.
Yeah,
easy
like
peasy.
What the hell? Why do people go like, whoa, like, oh my god, it's so difficult? Like, come on, it's not Blaszczykowski. That's a hard name.
We could do since we're doing ranking stuff every week. We could do like the most difficult names to
Bro,
pronounce.
there was a guy I saw the other day. There was a guy that used to play in the Premier League that had like 3 names. That was from like, I don't know if you remember. His name was like Van Halsen Hunsen Wurstrand, and his name that was like like this on the shirt.
Yeah, you have to do the arc on the back. Yeah,
love it.
Look at Word art, like Microsoft Word.
All right. Anything else from these last few matches, or anything that you want to talk about fixture-wise coming up? I know we got the international break coming, so we got a little bit of time. But anything else on your minds before we maybe move into ranking the top midfielders of the century? Are you kidding me right now? We ready for it? Okay. Well, hang on. Actually, beep beep beep. Back it up. Before we get into that. We did have a lot of comments from last week's ranking of the best strikers of the decade. One that I do want to highlight, and this will be our comment of the week. This is coming from LE93ND7. I don't know if that's supposed to spell out something, but LE93ND7 over on our YouTube channel. Thank you for commenting, first and foremost. Says, all of a sudden, Luis Suarez is the greatest ever. Where was all this talk when he was at Barcelona? We're getting called out there a little bit, saying that maybe we're giving some love posthumously, as they say. Luis Suarez no longer at Barcelona, doing things down in Miami. Of course, went to Atletico, won the league in our face the year that we let him go. What do you guys think about that? Did Luis Suarez get the love and respect that he deserved while he was wearing the Blaugrana kit, or are we kind of looking back with rose-colored glasses?
I used to love Suarez. I used to always defend him. I just thought he was absolute class, and he was just, he's one of the best players I've ever watched. I always defended him, but I think it comes to a point that Bulgan was making last episode when he was making his points that all of that batch of players moved on too late. And they all ended up on this situation. Rakitic, how good was Rakitic for Barca? And I remember towards the end of the time, everyone was like, please bench Rakitic. And even the campaign happened against Busquets, and people said Jordi Alba was useless, and people said Piqué was useless, and they said Suarez can't run. And it happened to the absolute lot of them. And that was a case of us not planning and moving on these players properly for the future, as Real Madrid have done a lot better. And I think that's the case with Suarez. Did he regress in the last few seasons? No doubt for me. No doubt on that. The Suarez that won the Liga Atletico was like was still the same Suarez we had. They were Atletico fans, and the way they play is just more accepting of that sort of striker. But do I think he was underrated? I think he was overhated towards the end, as happened to a lot of them. But I do think at the same time that people do recognise how good he was for Barca. I did, certainly, because I think he's... I mean, like I said, for me, he's the best striker of the last decade. So,
yeah, for me, one doesn't take the other one. Like, you can be amazing, you can be a historic player and all of this, but you can also stay too long, or you can also have the trouble of, like, he never, like the last few seasons, he never scored a goal away from home in the Champions League, and that's like, for me, a massive thing. Like, that's what you want to have your player do. So yeah, so that's what for me, like, one doesn't take away from the other. For me, Luis Suarez is my second favorite player ever, and
behind who was it, Buga? Who was your favorite ever? I forget.
I genuinely can't believe that.
People don't.
I'm going to bring that up every chance that I get.
I don't know.
It's not a bad shout. He is an amazing player.
I really like Griezmann. Okay, but the thing is that Luis Suarez, like, it doesn't take away from how good a player he is, right? And it's for me, the reason can be of, like, why was he overhated so much? Like Pablo said, I think he maybe stayed too long, and at the end of the day, like, it's like it just turns sour. The bad apple infects the whole orchard, something like that. So that's what happens, and I think it had happened plenty of times already. Wenger in Arsenal, I remember how that went down. Like, even people now, I see people already start to turn on Ancelotti for Real Madrid. I'm like, what? You nuts? So it's like,
I
people
saw that
will always
too.
be that.
It's funny, isn't it? That?
It's funny. So, like, dude, one doesn't take away from the other. Respect Suarez. He's an amazing player, and I just love him so very much. And I'm just thankful for him delivering one of the best performances ever.
Which one?
I'm gonna hit you with this quote from The Dark Knight, 2008. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. That's what it is.
True, isn't it?
I think that sums it up. Pablo, to your point, had these guys been sold, been transferred, a little bit closer to the end of their prime and their heyday, I think it's a very different story. But for me, PK is the biggest example. I mean, PK was just about run out of Barcelona, and it's sad. It's sad when it happens. It's very much a "what have you done for me lately" mentality, I think. And I wonder how much of that does just come from social media and the way that these narratives can just kind of build and build and build. But yeah, Luis Suarez, top forward. I admittedly, because those last couple of years, I was doing my solo channel, I was doing live streams. There's matches where I was pulling my hair out, but a lot of those matches, by the end of it, he'd get a winner, he'd get an equalizer. Like, he'd be nowhere for 75, 80 minutes, and then boom, El Pistolero from nothing, right? He finds the back of the net. So, yeah, it's a yes and situation, I think, for me. So let us know down in the comments, where are you at with things in terms of player legacy? Is it better for players to be sold too early or too late? I would love to hear some comments on that one, because if you sell them too early, then they go somewhere and they do great things, and you go, oh my gosh, well, how could we? I can't believe that we let him go. You know? Anyway, okay. With that out of the way, gentlemen, are we ready to rank the top 5 midfielders of the century? This is going to be, I think, here's my prediction. It's either going to be a heated debate like we had last time, or we're all going to have the exact same 5.
Yeah, I think I think the 5 will change, but I think 3 players we all have, and I think we should start just by saying if we have them or no, or we should go.
Let's do it. Let's do it like we did last time, right?
Okay.
Like, somebody give their number 5, and then we say if we have them on our list and where. I think that was a good flow. What do you guys think?
Yep, I agree.
Okay. Before we start naming names, what was your criteria for this? Were you looking at stats? Were you looking at trophies? Were you just kind of going anecdotally who you think actually performed the best based off of matches that you watch? What was your criteria going into this?
I always have the same criteria when judging players: moments, how good they actually play ball, stats, and accolades. All of that together for me make something.
Mm.
And I mean, I want more moments. Like
You said that, no?
Like, did I say
Yeah.
that? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. All right. Who wants to go first with their number 5 pick? Who wants to make themselves vulnerable here?
Yeah, I've got. This is the. Has anyone else found this really tricky?
For me, the number 5 is hard.
Yes.
Like overall, everything is hard because I think also taste of like your personal subjective taste of how midfielders are can change a lot depending what leagues you watch. That. So Pablo, go first.
I don't actually know if I can do this. Lads. I'm just toying with a few names here. I am just toying with a few names.
Go.
Do it. Don't think, just do it.
Frank Lampard.
Okay. Got him on the list.
Oh wow!
Are
you being serious?
I also have.
Yeah,
I also have number 5. I have Lampard number 5 as well.
This is fantastic. I can't believe this. I'm so used to getting hammered for that.
No, Lampard's a beast. What are you calling,
mate,
bro?
I completely agree, but I'm used to getting absolutely hammered for that. For a rate. Wow, hello.
For me, he is. I think he's what Jude Bellingham hopes to be.
Yeah.
Box-to-box midfielder, but really strong output on the offensive side. He could get 20 goals a season. Champions League winner. Happened to be part of that England era that never really fulfilled the potential with Lampard, Gerrard, Paul Scholes, Wayne Rooney. You could go on. That was just a ridiculous squad that they had that couldn't really put it together. But they were also in that era going up against some pretty strong nations. So that aside, yeah, I got Frank Lampard on my list. He just stuck in there.
This is.
I got him in there.
It's his goals. I completely agree, John, that obviously the goals are what stand Lampard out because he got a ridiculous amount. I also think he contributes a lot more than Jude Bellingham to a football match, though. For me, Bellingham is purely a goal scorer right now. And if he doesn't score, then I don't see him do much else. Lampard, for me, also could control games and dictate tempo. So I really rated Lampard.
Yeah. He's an ideal box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah. For me, it was between him and Gerrard for number 5.
You guys are.
There's literally one thing that I think, even though both won the Champions League, is just the Premier League. Like not winning the Premier League, I think it's such a huge thing for Gerrard. But for me, Lampard, the highest scoring midfielder in the Premier League ever, like insane. Such a good midfielder for me. I really, really like him. I think it was hard, honestly. There were plenty of names, but I think those two, Gerrard number 6 for me, Lampard number 5.
Yeah, we'll see as the list goes on. I got some names on my list where it's like, ooh, this player's kind of part of a pairing, and it's hard to,
I've got there are so many names on this one. I'm not gonna lie. The strikers,
honestly, we could redo it and do like best midfield pairings, best midfield trios.
Yeah.
We got a list coming up, folks. It's happening. Anyway,
okay, number 4.
Buga. Number 4, baby. Who you got?
My number 4 is Toni Kroos. I think he's really good. Like he's really good. He's very underrated. I think when you come to take a look at overall how good of a player he has been, he has won the 3 Champions League. He has won like how many 5 Champions League I think so
probably
far,
more.
or 6.
Yeah, I think probably 6.
Something crazy like that. World Cup. Had a brace
well.
in the semi-final of Brazil in the most important match and was the man of the match in the game. Insane. Toni Kroos, absolutely incredible. Bayern Munich didn't want to renew him his contract because they thought he wasn't worth the big wages as one of the main men in the team. He just literally left Bayern Munich, went to Real Madrid, and then like completely demolished European football. Absolute masterclass. You just see how much of an impact Real Madrid has with someone without him. Modric is still on the team, but Kroos is really the one that keeps the playing going. He's a metronome with the ball on his feet. He's insane. I also really like his attitude when it comes to being like a professional and working hard. Not in the sense like I also think professional in the sense of like kicking Pedri like how he did in the Euros. Like he's not calm, he's like I'm gonna f you up if I want to win. And
It
I
should
also
have been,
appreciate that quite a lot.
You
And
appreciate? I don't appreciate. I think he should have been sent off in the first half.
no, he should have been sent off.
Shameless, and he had the cheek to complain about the Cucurella handball the other day. By the way, he said that shouldn't have been my last game.
No, he was.
Mate,
He should have been sent off. I'm not saying that he should
in the 30th minute. Sorry,
but I think there's just what I mean, the competitiveness that he has, right? And at the end of the day, you have to be a competitive guy to be the best in the world. So yeah, I put him at number 4. I think he really is a good player, and yeah, he deserves to be there.
I did not have Toni Kroos on my list, but I did appreciate his Instagram battles that began with Gavi posting pictures of leaving the other one on the ground. I don't know if you guys caught that. It was like 2 or 3 matches in a row where those two were going at it, and it was, for me, actually, it was a little bit cringe for Kroos, because Kroos was, the older man, and Gavi's like 17 doing this. And I think Kroos did it first, if I'm not wrong. I think Kroos first posted with Gavi laying on the ground behind him, and then Gavi gave him the zinger back. I do not have Kroos on my list, but I do have Luka Modric at number 4.
Yeah, me too, John. I've got Modric, unfortunately, at 4.
At 4?
Yeah, Booga made a face. What's the face about, Booga?
Oh no!
I don't know. I want to hear your.
Oh
other
god! That means. Oh no, Booga! Oh no, Ignacio! Wait! I have a very important. This is best midfielders, right? Yeah, fine.
Yeah, but I should have said this at the top. We're kind of excluding the number 10s, like the purely attacking midfielders, and we're also excluding the purely defensive one, the holding midfielders. We're really talking about the true midfield, box to box, maybe a little bit on the attacking side, but the box to box midfielders, not necessarily the pivots or the number 10s. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have pivots.
No pivots, no pivots, no number 10s.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we all got Lampard at number 5. Pablo and I have Modric at number 4. Booga has Kroos at number 4. Booga, is Modric on your list at all?
Yeah, he's number 3.
Number 3. Okay. All right. Okay. My number 3.
But yeah, say it.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that for me, Modric and Iniesta are very close. Like for me, Modric and Iniesta are very, very close. Really, they're really, really close. I think in terms of longevity, Modric is more than Iniesta.
Disgusted.
No,
I really do think they're very close. For me, number 1 is clear. But
easy.
I'm not gonna say it. Number 2 and number 3, they were. It was Modric is just a bit too close to Iniesta in my opinion. People, I think if you make the argument that he's better than Iniesta, like I wouldn't kill you, like I fair play. I understand that, but for me, overall, Modric, what he has done longevity wise, Champions League won, taking Croatia to the final of a World Cup, another semi-final, playing the 7 games in the World Cup, then like it or not, deserved or not, winning a Ballon d'Or, like it's still like important in a sense. So Modric, I think it's an insane footballer, wonderful player. He has the moments, he has the stats, he has the longevity, he has the style of play, he has everything in my criteria to be really high up there. But there's only one thing I think when we get to talking about Iniesta, I'm gonna say it, that I think separates Iniesta above Modric, and that's one thing that I'll keep.
Yeah, Modric for me it's one of the few players that is so good and plays the game in such a beautiful way that even though he's a Madrista, I got love and respect for him. And I enjoy watching him play, for sure. I could probably count on one hand the number of Real Madrid players that I could say that for. And especially on this current team. Let the comments come in. I don't care. There's not a lot of players that I love and respect on this current Real Madrid team, but Modric for me is one of those players. So I got him in there. I got him in there at number 4. My number 3, Andrea Pirlo.
Yep.
I don't have him.
Me too. Me too.
I didn't think you guys would.
No, I do, John.
You got him, Pablo?
Pirlo's in there for me.
Damn.
Bang, 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 bang. Let's go. Where you got
I've got him 3 as well. I've got him 3.
Pablo, do you and I just have the exact same list?
Oh god,
I think you
actually might do. We actually might. There's actually a good chance we do. Yeah. This list has really fried my head. You know, I've really struggled doing this, but I put Pirlo. I just tried to remember like midfielders who I watched, and this for me, Bulgar, is what separates Iniesta from Modric for me. Like, do you when you guys watched like an Andres Iniesta, like an Andrea Pirlo, and then you watch Modric now? Is it just me who thinks there was a different class? I think we've almost been brainwashed. Maybe when we come to Iniesta, wherever you guys have him, we've almost accepted because of how successful and relentless Modric has been as Real Madrid. I think player to player, for me, him and like Iniesta are incomparable. I don't know if that's me, like the Barca goggles, but I see online it's like sometimes it's common knowledge that amongst people that Modric is a better player than Andres Iniesta was. And for me, that absolutely baffles me. I've seen like people do tweets of that where they go like, no way you think Iniesta's better than Modric. And it's got like 100K likes. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I'm like, people actually believe this shit? And for me, I think the only reason why people believe it, like,
yeah, I know. I think the only thing that people can level Modric with, I think, is the fact that he won a Ballon d'Or. And accolades in general. Like I think in terms of and longevity, that's the only reason why I think people can look at Modric for more than Iniesta. And people that like to see football that way, they can do that. But player to player, like if I'm playing, I don't know, like 1v1, I think that Iniesta beats Modric. You know, like I feel that Iniesta is a much better player than Modric. He really is. But also, like, let's remember that was a time where there wasn't this social media, this stuff. So it's like that evolution of that Iniesta, we have people haven't seen the best of him, but overall, if you have, you know that Iniesta is wonderful.
Yeah, it is for me. I'll hit you with another quote. There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. And if you did not watch these guys play, you don't know how good Iniesta was. I'm spoiling some of my later rankings, but it's because he didn't get the number of goals and assists that you see from some of these other players. But if you watch them play head to head, yeah, it's not the same. It's just not. So pause on that. Let me back up to Pirlo. World Cup winner, Champions League winner, adapted his style of play throughout his career. He made players that were not so great look great. He elevated everybody around him.
He was class. Yeah.
Big fan of Andre.
Me too. I remember some of the first. I actually fall into the category a bit of the people you're talking about, John, with Pirlo. Really, I missed a lot of his best years, I'm sure, but I do remember watching him in Euro 2012 and thinking, like, and they were playing Spain in that final, Italy, and obviously Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets like ran the show, and you were thinking like this guy would fit right into this team. You know, you almost felt sorry for him in the Italy team who didn't want to hold possession. But when he got on the ball, I mean, that whole tournament, he was just like levels above everyone else. He's a class player.
Yeah.
I'm for me, I don't really put him that high up, but I take it.
Baby Booga. Okay. So Lampard, Modric, Pirlo for me and Pablo. What's your recap again?
Mine is number 5, Lampard, number 4, Kroos, and number 3, Modric.
3 Modric. Okay.
I think we both all have the number top 2 here.
All right.
But in what order?
Yeah, in what order? Yeah. Pablo, we're back to you. Who's your number 2?
This is something I debate all the time. It's between, obviously, am I saying my top 2 correct? My names, yeah?
Yeah, let's just say
it's between Xavi and Iniesta. This is one of the great debates amongst Barca fans, and certainly like here in Spain, of who was better, Xavi or Iniesta. I was always of the belief that it was Andres Iniesta. Growing up and as a football fan, I was always of the belief it was Andres Iniesta, and I mentioned that at work recently, and got absolutely hammered because apparently to them it was common knowledge that Xavi Hernandez was a much better footballer than Andres Iniesta. It was absolute common knowledge. But I seem to remember Iniesta having a little bit more to his game than Xavi, where Xavi was such a good controller and passer and tick things around. But I felt as though Iniesta was a bit more agile. He could dribble more with the ball. And more importantly, he could score more goals and big goals. The World Cup goal is the big one that will always be there in his career. So I'm just going to stick to my guns and put Iniesta on Xavi too, because for me, he made the difference in moments of that. I think that's the point you were going to make too, Bulgar. And that for me is also invaluable in a footballer, and I just think he had more to his game than Xavi. But again, that was an opinion I had that did not go down well with some people. So
for me, Iniesta, that goal in the World Cup separates him from Modric and puts him in my number 2. Yeah. For me, Xavi is better than Iniesta. For me, I'm on the camp of like, for me, Xavi was a far better player than Iniesta. Like, not far better player, but he was unique. Like, Xavi won't ever be replicated as a player, in my opinion. I think Iniesta, someone can reach that level. For me, Xavi is like the Messi, like the extra player from that position in the generation. For me, the way that he saw football, the way that he controlled the ball, the way that he simply commanded every game, not breaking a sweat. Oh my God! Even I'm gonna use this. Of course, it's not. I'm gonna use this point as a manager, but even he came in and that the exact same, he was as a player the exact same way he was as a manager, and sometimes even that cannot be as good because he was so different as a player that of course it's gonna be difficult to translate that into your dressing room, because it's like you just expect them to do stuff that for you is super simple to do, but they won't understand. So for me, that's one of the very big gaps that Xavi has when managing a team, because it's like he's just such of a different level, of a different understanding of the game. And I think that when you see play on 2009, 2010, 2011, insane. I always remember like he had things drilled down to a T. I remember the corner that he scored in the corner that he assisted to Puyol in the semifinal against Germany in the World Cup. That was the sweetest corner I've ever seen someone shoot. Insane, honestly. Like for me, Xavi's, and for me, like I said, I think he's like the Messi of the midfield. Like he's apart,
Yeah, there is only one Xavi.
Yeah,
absolutely. If you had to pick one of the two to stay specifically in the middle of the pitch, I would probably take Xavi. But Pablo, to your point, Iniesta gives you that little something extra with his dribbling ability, that little something extra to create on his own, right? So it is a slightly different playing style, a slightly different player. But I got Iniesta at number 1, not just because of my heart. I am wearing his kit right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bang on. This is from the Camp Now, by the way. I was telling Buga before we started. This is from the Camp Now, 2017. Wow. Let's go. Anyway, Iniesta, only player to be man of the match in a Euro final, World Cup final, and Champions League final.
Yeah, that's massive.
Get out of here.
That's massive.
Get out of here. He shows up.
Yeah.
He shows up. So we're splitting hairs, in my opinion. Those are the top 2, and then there's everybody else because of the longevity, the pure dominance with Barcelona and Spain. How many players, right, in any position can say that they dominated the world of football for club and country for how many years? 4 or 5 years. Absolutely incredible. So it's those two and everybody else. I got Iniesta just number 1. Just barely number 1.
Yeah. Like I said, for me, it's like just, it's like you're saying, splitting hairs, it's like, it's just, we're talking about the best of the best here overall.
Yeah.
And I know we're defending like them too, Iniesta and Xavi, but I am of the point of view that I do include Modric in that table. Like if I'm doing like a wedding, the tables, I sit them 3 together. Yeah. Like that's what I would do. Like I do think that.
My first thought when this came up was, okay, well, it's Xavi and Iniesta, it's Kroos and Modric, and then who's my fifth? That was my first thought, to be honest.
Yeah, that's for me.
Yeah, I left Kroos off a little bit because of bias and a little bit because I wanted to recognize some of the players that maybe came a generation before with Lampard and Pirlo.
Yeah.
So, interesting. Okay.
For me, there's one player that I really like, and for me, it's very high up there in the list. I don't know if you have them high up. I want to know your opinion quickly, like how good you regard this player. But for me, there are actually two. One is Yaya Toure. I think he was really, really good, and I think that Snyder was really good as well.
Wow.
Like for me, the best Snyder 2010 when they reached the final of the World Cup, when he won the Champions League with Inter. That was undoubtedly like one of the best individual seasons of someone I've seen. He was really good, but he just hasn't been able to maintain that. But I don't think they're close to these players. But I thought they just needed recognition because some people are not going to mention them, I think.
Yeah. This is a bit of a spoiler. One of the rankings that we'll be bringing up here in the next few weeks is players that the streets will never forget. Yaya Toure is on my short list for that one because I think his longevity wasn't quite there. But talk about I think it was 2013. You couldn't touch him. You could not touch him whatsoever. So more on that. Here's a question, and then we'll wrap up on this. Are there any current midfielders? Because I know Modric is still playing, so he's a current midfielder on the list. Other than Modric, is there any current midfielders that you think are in that conversation that are honorable mentions on this top 5?
From the top of my head, I have one. On the top of my head, I have one clear one. That is De Bruyne.
Oh, good.
That's who I got.
I think out of my head, bang, De Bruyne is in that conversation.
Yeah.
Thinking of maybe another one. I'm not too sure.
I don't know about.
Does any one of you?
I don't know about getting the top 5. You know, N'Golo Kante.
I don't know if the top 5.
N'Golo Kante is a good shout.
But I think
if we were doing defensive
CDMs.
mids,
right?
If we were to do a defensive mids, I'd get him.
I think another one that I think it's very underrated, but definitely should be in conversation, should be mentioned in this list is Gundogan. I think Gundogan is very underrated. Overall,
World
as a
Cup
career,
winner,
what he has done,
winner, yeah.
I think he's very underrated. And I think those will be my names. And in terms of players who will be in that debate, what would you say? Players that will be there. Pedri, I think, will be there. Yeah. Gavi, I think, will be there. Bellingham, I think, will be there. I don't know if Valverde will be there. I think maybe. I think.
Come on, you must have one more hipster
from those. Yeah, I think one more hipster.
Give us someone.
I don't know.
Like a player from like Stuttgart or something.
No, I think someone Vitinha could be there.
Oh, here we go.
I think Vitinha will be. I think Vitinha will be like. I think Vitinha will.
Wow.
Well, I think Vitinha would be like.
Vitinha, didn't he?
Well, like Verratti, like Verratti was a very good midfielder, but he was never gonna be on the top list because he just played PSG the entire season. So I think that's what's gonna happen with him.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up on that one. Again, let us know your comments. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Give us your top 5. If you're gonna say, "Oh my God, your top 5 was terrible. I can't believe you put blah, 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 blah," give us your top 5. All right. Have some courage. Put your name in the hat, or throw your hat in the ring, as they say. Whatever the saying is, I don't know. I'm tired. We're getting off of here. Let us know your comments, and we'll keep the list going. Let us know what you'd like to see ranked. We've been talking about doing some things, like I said, players that the streets won't forget. We got to do CDMs. We got to do attacking mids. We got to do wingers. We could, if we wanted to, go through the numbers. We could do the best number 1s, number 2s, number 3s, number 4s. That might be fun. So give us your ideas. Let us know what you want to see ranked. Show us some love in the comments. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. All those things. All right. And we'll be back for more Barcelona news, Barcelona conversation, and good hang with the boys every Monday here on Mas Que Un Podcast. We'll see you next time, folks.
See you. Bye.